Hey guys, I'm here talking to Steve from SRP. SRP is very big in the kind of commercial emergency preparedness and response, and they've been using our tool for quite a while. And so I'd be really happy if you could share with some of our customers and how you're leveraging this technology to basically improve your workflows.
Absolutely. Well, having Matterport as a technology partner has been very important for us on many, many facets. One of the main facets is the ability of the high resolution of documenting the damage to a property. So being able to get in there immediately after a loss has occurred, be it a fire, be it a water loss, and being able to properly document it in a 3D format, being able to catch all of it, including the measurements, has been just absolutely substantial in how we're being able to be efficient in our estimating process and also damage assessment process.
Yeah. So as you're documenting this damage that's happening, where do you find yourself using the model or showing it or sharing it with it? Where do you see that kind of killer application in having a 3D model of, I guess, pre-mitigation and post-mitigation?
Yeah, having the ability to go in, scan it when it initially happened, being able to moisture map, show that all on the 3D scan, and then being able to show that to both the insurance adjuster, share it with a public adjuster, the attorneys that may be involved in it if it shows up legal later in the fact. But being able to show that, having the image captured, date and stamped on that time and place and location, it freezes that image in space so that the person doesn't have to go back and revisit the site once that scan is done.
Yeah. So you've seen this efficient in let's say you have any dispute around your claim, and this be a tool to be used in that respect?
Well, absolutely, because the current models that we have out there, the current tools that everyone's using, is very one-dimensional. You simply have somebody go out there, take some one-dimensional photos, and many times the dispute arises because the desk adjuster is unaware of where that photo was taken. Not properly documented. That photo may be this wall, this beige wall, and that beige wall shows a moisture meter on it. You don't know how, in reference to where the water source may have come from, that wall is.
Yeah, it's just more context than
photo. Absolutely, on every level. The dispute resolution to be able to have them see the entire room as a whole, and from somebody who's never walked the property. So the field adjuster comes out there, looks at it, and then now he's trying to interpret what he saw here in his way of taking photographs, gets it to the desk adjuster, and the desk adjuster is not seeing the same translation. I mean, we find that even as restoration contractors, when you send an estimator out there, you want that same estimator to go out there and meet the adjuster out there, because if he hands you his estimate, many times you're missing information because you weren't physically in that space. And a lot of imagery is kept up here, not ever translated. So you're able to take it what's up here and translate it into a virtual 3D world for anybody to see.
Yeah, and then you talk a lot about the fact that there's obviously structural damage to properties you get into. How about contents?
Yeah, on the contents, having the 3D scan for that room, say it's a smoke loss could be a smoke loss from a house fire, wildfire, whatever it may be. When you scan a room that's got all these contents in, instead of sitting there manually writing, every single soft good, wall space, pictures, sconces, how many lights, that could take you a good hour, 2-3 hours, depending on how many contents are in that room. Or you can simply scan it within that 20-second radius, come back to your office, or simply upload it and have your contents estimator throw on a 3D virtual VR and spin that room and input everything, because that senior estimator, both in contents, can actually put all the notes in and properly evaluate it.
And that's stuff your field guys might not be able to do, or they just might miss something, right?
True. And like they say, an extra set of eyes is always better than a single set of eyes.
Yeah.
So a lot of times what I have is in our estimating department, the senior property damage appraiser and estimators are the ones that review those 3D scans and then look for what might have been missed in order to see that. Or many times some will just arbitrarily, not purposely, will miss an area after they walked out of a room. So if you walked out of that room that you were just in, could you identify everything that you saw in there and now categorically write it down?
Probably not. But if I had this scan, I totally get what you mean. So basically you're saying not only is it for the dispute resolution aspect, but the fact that you could have senior people in the office reviewing this same claim at the same time, or 3 days after the fact, or even after the place has been mitigated, you could go back to the pre-mitigation scan and see anything that you missed that your field team might have missed.
Yeah, so one thing that we found that has been very good for us, especially in the multifamily side of the business, is being able to go scan it scan it after the mitigation is done, and in some cases scan it when the reconstruction is done completely, and be able to send that to all parties, including the bank, so that the bank will release the check for both the adjusters, if there's public adjusters involved, which is called a depreciation holdback, or the depreciation holdback for the reconstruction that shows that the place is completely done. Satisfies the bank, the mortgage the lender on it, the insurance company, owner has how the work was done from beginning to end.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of benefits to that. So because during, like, for example, Hurricane Irma in Florida, and Harvey and Maria in Puerto Rico, a lot of the projects, as they started getting done, the building owners, the asset owners, went ahead and started making the repairs. They weren't waiting on the insurance companies. The insurance companies were absolutely inundated. So now you have a date stamped of the work was done, because the adjuster walks in, he's like, you need to exhibit the damage. I don't see the damage.
Yeah.
But here's 3 months later. You're showing up 3 months later. The owners had to move forward with reopening their business.
Yeah.
The fact that it took you 90 days to get an adjuster out to look at the stuff, you expect him, he saved you money by saving you money on the business interruption and not losing his clients and going back into business, which is great for everybody, the economy, the insurance company, everybody involved. So absolutely.
Yeah. So you're saying it's got that benefit of not having to wait around for the adjusters and the estimators. You can just go on, continue right into the mitigation. So it's actually speeding up return to normal business, and it's speeding up the claim process in general.
And the fact is, you didn't prejudice the insurance company or prejudice the claim from being able to show them where the damage state is at. So 6 months later, or say, God forbid, it goes legal, right? They always have the option to throw on a 3D headset and look exactly where how that property looked right after the fire loss, the water loss, the hurricane loss, whatever it may be.
Yeah. Great, yeah. So, one of the other aspects you were talking to me about is the fact that, besides this documentation and being able to remote view, this thing is actually making you do your job in the field faster. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, the typical, you can have an adjuster walk out, one of our estimators walk out and sketch out a building. And that could take them 4 to 8 hours minimum of getting this stuff done. But when one of our estimators can go out to a commercial building and cover 7,000 to 12,000 square feet per hour and have a sketch that comes out of it, that the walls are measured, and then they can drop that sketch into another sketch estimating platform, the time that they save there alone and accuracy,
That's good ROI on the camera just there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's a fabulous tool. And for us, it's been great to be a partner of Matterport as a technology partner, implemented into our system that makes us that much more efficient and keeps us at the very cutting edge of the market.
Yeah.
And servicing our clients.
So I guess one last thing, Steve, is, in those cases where, you touched on it a little bit, where this claim actually escalates and, you're not able to solve the dispute and this thing goes to court. Have you seen that happen, and then kind of where does Matterport play a role there?
Again, it goes back to the very beginning of this conversation. Documentation, documentation, documentation. Having the evidence, the clean, crisp documents in a 4K, like a 4K 3D imagery, 360. It's very hard to dispute when it's blown up on a big screen.
Yeah.
Versus just let me flip you through some pictures that somebody took off their phone and it's not properly categorized, or they missed this corner, or they didn't get the back of this cabinet or the back of this wall, or didn't quite capture the entire floor, and those type of details, which
and you're showing it to a jury which is already kind of not really well versed in the world of fire or storm damage. So these dispersed pictures are probably even more hard to understand for them.
Yeah, and just in closing, the restoration and contractors that are not using the tool better catch up quick, because this is going to save them a ton of money as far as being efficient. It's going to get them ahead of the curve. Because this is where the industry's headed. So the sooner you guys get on it, the better off everybody is, really.
Yeah, just kind of like drones was a few years ago, and using drones for roof measurements, and now you can't really live without it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, great. It's been great talking to you,
It was a pleasure.
Steve.
Thanks again for having me.
Yeah, great working with you guys.
Absolutely. Thank you.